No,
You're
but
having a good hair day. Am I having a good hair day?
yeah, you got the things going there. You get the wet look.
Yeah, I want it to look wet.
Hey, champions.
What's up, champions?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
What are we on now?
32. I
Okay.
screwed up last week. It said 37. And Steven wouldn't let me hear the end of it. So now I'm not going to forget ever again, I don't think.
All right, cool. 32.
32.
And I'm back with you. Thanks, Stephen, for coming in and doing your thing.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think it's great when the two of you get together and you start talking about all things discs.
Yeah.
You're both really knowledgeable. Stephen's very passionate. You're very passionate. And it works.
Yeah.
It works. So I hope we do more of that.
Yeah. And I'm always right when Steven and I argue opposite points, just so everybody knows. Everybody that came into the store today said I was so right about the Berg versus Slammer. Just wanted to plug that really
Everyone
quick.
agrees except Stephen.
Yeah, except for Steven. So
Right.
he's just right.
I like it. I got a few things on my list, but your list looks longer. So do you
You want to start with my list?
you feel the need?
Well, I don't really feel the need. No, I don't feel any which way about much.
But good things to talk about nonetheless.
Sure. So I'll just kick it off by saying the tech disc. We talk about it a lot, and it is the only thing of its kind in our sport. But if you look at batting cages in baseball and even what golf does with the club head speed and the technology that they have to develop your game, the future of this tech disc is not going to be having a computer chip on the disc itself. It's going to be you pulling out any disc in your bag and throwing it, and there's other outside instruments to measure the rotation and the speed and the angles that the disc is coming out of. That's going to be the future, because then you don't need a tech disc. You just need all these other instruments surrounding you to throw into the net. I just had that thought the other day, and it kind of like sparked my mind of like, wow, that's really the future of tech disc, isn't it?
Well, you brought up something that's interesting. I on YouTube, I see these professional baseball throwers, pitchers, throwing, and it's giving all of the analytics on every single throw, speed, rotation.
Every variable you can imagine.
Incredible. Right? So they're not starting from like golf where it's a stop position. So the computer can zone in on that and have everything and then be able to have something to work from. And with the pitcher, there's a total throwing motion happening. So whether or not it's in the ball itself that they're throwing, I don't know. Or if it's the outside device you're talking about and it's capturing it on its way to the 90 feet away. Right? So I don't know.
I just assumed because of the way that the golf simulator is, when you hit the ball, they can measure the rotations and all the angles that it's at to show what the ball would do in a fair way.
That's correct. It's absolutely correct.
So I just assumed that baseball was on the same level because baseball's been around forever and there's lots of money into it.
If anyone is in the baseball, actually there's a place down the street I want to stop into, and I've been meaning to for a while, and they have bays. Because we're here in Phoenix, so in the summertime, these kids want to work on their game. They don't have to be out in 100-degree temperatures for the next 3 months. So that's become a thing. Pickleball's going indoors here in Phoenix.
Big time.
Bays for hitting baseballs and working on your game, indoor tennis, etc. And now we've got bays here for tech disc here at the store. So yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to analyze
take any disc out of your bag.
Putter up.
Yes.
Correct. But it's coming. At some point it's coming. We're also happy that we've got at least some analytics that tells us, and it's really helpful.
Oh, it's brilliant. The amount of people, I had 4 or 5 people come in today just to use it, and they throw it and they learn that data is so valuable.
Yeah. Huge in helping you understand, not just from watching yourself on film, but actually knowing that you've got to make an adjustment here or there to get your nose angle proper or your release angle proper. It's fantastic, and you can't capture that in film. You can sort of see it, but you really have to have a good teacher and you have to have a good eye. But this doesn't lie.
That's right.
So it's amazing to know that you've got to teacup it more, or you got to do something. Then that's the beauty of it.
It tells you exactly what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right.
Correct.
Because there were people today that stopped by. I'm like, man, your numbers look amazing.
Correct.
And they were shocked themselves. So
yeah, some people just have have it in the right place already. But
Yep.
to know that, the confidence that gives you to go back out now, hey, I'm doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
My
Just
angles
gotta hone
are
in
good.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
now you can power up a little bit.
that's worth coming in and spending a few bucks in a half hour of your time and seeing where you're at. So we encourage that big time. So yeah, I can see what you're talking about, and I would imagine it gets there. I would say it's 2 years off.
You think so?
Yeah, but technology, who knows? But
Well,
we don't see anyone working on it now. So let's just assume someone is. It would still be a year more than likely before a prototype was out to anyone like us.
yeah. How many instruments do you need
Right.
for something like that? Does it sit behind the net or what?
Right.
It's got to be a pretty advanced piece of machinery.
Well, the thing in golf is about $1,000, and it's
Oh,
about
really? That's it? I thought
Yeah.
it would be more.
Well, again, it was initially,
I guess so. Yeah. The first.
but we take Dusty. It's about the size of Dusty, and then you put it up right behind where you're hitting balls,
Okay.
and it
Oh, and it just watches it.
gets everything, and it puts it right to your phone.
So freaking cool.
Yeah. So I would imagine when you're throwing into a net, it would sit behind you somewhere, and then as you throw, it would capture what it needs to capture. Now, I do know that there's a dot if you go to certain places that has to be on the ball.
So it can see the rotation.
Yeah. So something has to happen where that aligns with what you're talking about.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Tech Disc is the greatest thing for this sport to take it to the next level that I've seen in my short time
Yeah.
in the sport.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I've seen that's going to advance it in the way that has
For sure.
or will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Popped in my head. I thought it was really exciting to think of, oh my God, there's the next step here.
For sure. Yeah, I love where your head's at. What else you got?
Well, I got your favorite grip solution. There's lots of people have issues with the tact that they can get on their disc. You know, some people prefer the tackier discs. Some people throw Discraft, which is really slick, and you kind of need like a chalk or lick your fingers. There's this company called Dirty Birdie Disc Golf, and they have started marketing liquid chalk to players, which I think is brilliant because it lasts way longer than any chalk bag on the market. All you need is a couple little drops on your fingertips, and all of a sudden you've got the most amazing grip on the rim of the disc. Yeah, they've been sponsoring some events here in the Valley, and it's just non-biasedly saying, I do love the product. I think it's awesome and brilliant.
What's in the product that you're putting on your skin?
It's liquid chalk. So they developed it a few years back for climbers, rock climbers, because they love their chalk bags and stuff. So liquid chalk apparently is really, really good for that.
That should be perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, to market it to disc golfers, man, why has nobody else done that yet? That was so smart.
So that's exciting. Another bit of technology that's coming in.
Yeah.
Make it a little easier to. Yeah, because I'm worried about Gannon's lungs.
Yeah, that amount of power you're inhaling every single.
Gannon, I really think you need to consider that long term. Like, I don't think breathing in that powder is good.
Can't be good.
I don't think it is. Well, didn't they just have a total recall on putting it on babies' butts and stuff like that?
Did they?
I think so. You got to be really careful with that powder stuff, especially breathing it. So I understand why he does all that, and it's just this
big cloud of chalk.
Yeah, it's this crazy cloud of chalk, but it really does show him where the wind is, and I see the advantages of doing it, but I do think there may be some health coming from a medical sort of background in my day job that could actually, I would want to talk to someone more about that, and that might be something we'll put on the old list here that take a look at.
It's fairly easily avoidable. Just kick the dirt or throw grass like everybody else does. You know, there's other ways to read the wind.
But he's chalking all the time. So when you're constantly chalking, you're constantly throwing it in the air.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to do it? You're telling us now you've got a liquid?
Yeah. Just a couple drops on your fingertips is all you need, so it lasts way longer than a bag like that.
For each throw, or for?
I mean, for me, it stays on there for a while, so you don't need a ton.
3-4 holes. In the desert, in the desert, we always get the dusty putts.
I hate the dusty.
Right, always gets on your putter.
Yeah, it's super fine.
Yeah, that stuff. I could see where that would dull it immediately, but they're not playing in that. So most of the country's not playing in that.
Yeah, even in Vegas where they have that, they only got a couple little dirt patches that they actually hit.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Are you going to carry it?
I already have it. It's right there.
Is that a bird?
Yep, bird sauce.
Oh,
Should have put a bottle on the table.
here. Hold on.
Yeah, 1 second. Quick intermission. Wish I warmed up my singing voice so I could let the crowd know. Bird sauce. This stuff's awesome. It's 50 milliliters, and honestly, this would last you forever.
Comes with a little
Carabiner.
carabiner. So what is the value of this?
Oh, I charged $12 for it.
Okay. And that looks like it might last a while. That's a fair
And
amount.
a regular chalk bag is 10, so this is like
Right.
10 chalk bags.
Comes sealed. All the things that I'm a critic of.
I see you're really analyzing it
Yeah.
already.
Well, let's talk about ingredient decking, shall we?
Let's see if he passes the test.
Alcohol.
So it dries fast.
Silicone.
That makes sense.
It's got silica in there. So that's what worries me about the chalk bags is the silica.
For your skin or just
Breathing it.
Breathing it.
Breathing it.
Oh.
I don't know how inert it is in your body. So when you're doing that, Gannon, and you're clapping everything and you're breathing that in, I don't know that it's a long-term good thing. Be careful. Yeah, so cool. Cool
So
idea.
it's a badass product, man.
Look forward to trying it out. I like it. Well,
Yeah,
you're on fire right out of the gate here.
Yeah, well, right. So in the most recent episodes, I feel like I've had to come up with more. You know, just talking with people
Carry
all day.
Steven. Yeah, Steven needs carry.
Where you've been carrying me this whole time, and now I was like, oh, I got to put my backpack Steven on, and he's heavy, man.
Big boy. Steven is brilliant.
Yeah.
Just like poking fun at him. And he's probably sitting at home enjoying this or not. He's not mad at me.
He'll be in California when this drops, so we don't have to worry about it for a
good.
couple of days.
Good. Good to hear.
Yep.
Well,
I've got
stuff I've got is a little heavier.
Okay. So we should stay light for the meantime, you think?
We'll
And then
go
we can
light,
end
and then
heavy?
I'll do, maybe we'll fit in the Carp's Corner that we're
Okay.
going to start adding onto this.
Sure.
It's another layer of things. But yeah, I've got some opinions, and I'm going to share them.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, for the meantime, this last tournament was the best women's finish we've had all year.
Can I talk about not liking the way they did the playoff?
Really? Because I was excited about the playoff, the 3-hole, best of the 3-hole.
Yeah.
It's just different rather than the sudden death.
Yeah. What's just the name was just there in my head. What's it called when they add up all three? There's a playing golf. It's
not aggregate, but it's
yeah.
Is it aggregate?
No. So yeah. Well, here was the issue I had with it.
Yeah.
It backed everything up for everyone else. Almost like 40.
It is a weird way to interject.
Almost 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So that isn't good. It seems to me like they would have flowed better. Put them on 1, 2, and 3 or something like that, so they could flow with all the men that are already out there on the course. Now you're telling them to stop in their flow so that you can fit that in.
That does suck.
That was terrible.
I mean, 16, 17, 18 are great holes to do a playoff for.
Get it.
But it did totally screw up
everything.
The rest of the tournament.
Everything.
On the final round, the most important one.
Everything. And I know why they wanted to do it, because of the aesthetics and everything else, and the cameras are already there, and but it seems to me like you almost just have to go on 1 and let them full through, and then when they're done, they pull out, and it keeps the flow going. Instead of this, they went around twice, didn't they?
No, they didn't go around twice.
Just the once?
Yeah, they only had to do the 3 holes.
Total.
Correct.
Okay.
Because Missy took it down. I think
Then
Haley
it shouldn't have been a big deal, but why did it back everything up so badly?
It took them a while to do it. It did take a while for that playoff to happen.
Okay.
And if it was sudden death, it would have been over
And
almost right away.
I heard that King was upset about was there a foot fault called in the playoff?
I don't remember that.
Okay. And then I also heard that she was going to do signings and be at a booth and everything afterwards and didn't show up.
Whoa. That's
So,
not a good look.
Not a good look. which kind of segues into what I'm going to talk about with sponsorships and things like that.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. Especially if a sponsor has you out there and the emotions are there for real, they're raw. She had a terrible last hole.
Yeah.
She threw it in the water.
Oh man, that was so tragic.
Yeah. It just, it's not a good look. And I don't know, do we know who her caddy is?
No.
In relation to like her life, or is it a life partner? Is it someone she found to help out? Because it seems like they were talking quite a bit.
They were, yeah.
And I'd be curious as to some of that conversation, because that shot on 18 was critical. Up and down, she wins.
Yeah, and she slept it.
Yeah. And they were sort of giggling and laughing and going up. And I was thinking to myself, this is a pretty big moment. You haven't won all year. You haven't won in a while. Now you've got the opportunity to win, and there's a giggly, and you haven't won this thing yet. You're like in a great position, for sure. And I'm not saying you can't laugh.
Well, but the focus wasn't there.
It seemed like that.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were like distracted.
Uh-huh.
And, again, as a sponsor into that, I'm looking, I would be on the phone probably afterwards and saying, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
What happened here?
Yeah. There's an agreement between us that you're going to represent our brand and we're going to pay for your year, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Right?
You're at your job at the end of the day.
Right. And I just feel as though some of that in disc golf is not taken as seriously as you see in other sports. Now, I know the money isn't there yet, but if you want to get the money there, I think some of these progressions have to be made.
It goes into like dress for the job you want, right?
Boom. Well said. That's exactly right. Dress for the job you want. And
that's why I'm wearing Anthony Brella's jersey, actually.
It just came. Yeah, we all want that job, right? So yeah, it just came across to me like it didn't feel the way what it was going to take to beat Ricky Wysocki on the last day with a lead at his home, basically his home track.
He's owned that course for a long time.
You saw a look, and this is the look I'm talking about, in Calvin Heimberg's face that was business. He looked
like an assassin, man.
Business.
He's in it, yeah.
Those first 7 holes were...
Oh my God, so fierce.
That dude looked like a robot.
Uh-huh.
It was awesome as a fan.
So good.
Because, no, again, we just want to see the best out of everybody. But I think it really put Ricky on his heels going, holy crap. He's making everything. If he's not hitting it close enough, he's making circle 2 putts. And all this stuff is happening.
Well, the amount of people that have come in to talk about Ricky's game, like, man, he was really off. It's like, no, he wasn't off. Calvin was on.
Yeah.
And he had to chase him to win. And that's really what happened.
Yes.
That's why he fell off, because he was just trying to chase the unbeatable man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Ricky it's got to be as scary as it gets. But even the commentators were saying this might be the one guy that Ricky doesn't scare as much as everyone else, maybe a little younger. And it showed. He came out, he was all business. There was no joking around. I kind of like the fact that he carries his own bag. There seems to be a real...
There's kind of a rhythm about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of his game plan.
Yeah. He's very, I don't want to say methodical, but he does seem to have a rhythm. You're right. That's a great way to put it.
I'm kind of the same way. I don't really like having a caddy. It feels uncomfortable not carrying my own gear. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and depending on your personality, you've got to worry about your caddy. Is the caddy doing okay? Is he carrying? He's carrying all this extra weight for me. And I might be not. Am I playing good enough? Am I not playing good enough? It starts rattling in there.
Yeah, you don't want extra
comfortable
influence.
You are, right? Like. It really seems to be helping, like Paul Ulibarri, who's had that steady caddy now for years.
Yeah, for sure.
And I see that relationship progressed further than anyone else's caddy relationship. And then if you look for guys on like the PGA Tour or the Live Tour with their caddies, those caddies make 10%. So those caddies are all millionaires. And but that relationship is very similar to what Paul's starting to build with his. They know the shots,
He probably knows his bag inside and out.
He seems to, and he seems to know when to talk to Paul, when not to talk to Paul. All those things matter. And but we digress.
That's awesome.
We digress.
Yeah.
So,
last one.
Okay.
How good was Emily Weatherman?
Love it.
18-year-old gal from Texas.
Yeah, love it.
This just doubles back on my conversation last week with Steven about Silva Saarinen. This young generation coming out and kicking ass is so awesome to see.
Yeah, pretty girl too.
Yeah.
I mean that her game is as good as anyone out there at 18.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She made just a smidge more maturity, just like we were saying with AB for all those years, right?
Right.
He's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I could see her being that person.
Well, and speaking of Anthony Barella, all the locals here watched Anthony Barella grow up, and they knew this kid was going to be one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. Yeah. At the age of 12, people all see it.
Yeah.
How many people in Texas got to watch Emily Weatherman grow up with a disc in her hand,
right,
and just knew that she was going to be
right
in the top level, man?
Right. And I've seen some other YouTubers out there or social influencers that are disc golfers that are young, that are doing pretty impressive things, winning tournaments at a young age, like 13 and 14, winning MA2, MA1s, that type of stuff.
That's what we love to see.
And it's crazy. They're coming.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they have a reason to keep going and not being diverted by life, all the other pulls that come with life.
Yep.
You know, if it's where your heart's at, hopefully they can make enough money to keep going, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. But and that sort of, again, circles back to what I want to talk about. So we'll do Carp's Corner here.
Well, this is a perfect segue, yeah.
Perfect segue?
Let's get into it.
All right. So Jake Wolf announced either yesterday or today he's separating from dynamic discs. Because his game demands that he throws things that he hasn't, I guess, found in the trilogy.
Okay, so he needs
full.
Other discs.
He needs other discs, or other discs have been working better, and he's seeing a fall off as a result.
Okay, so it's the disc's fault, huh?
Well, you can't blame the disc. I get what you're saying, but if it goes back to what I was saying, when you take one-year contracts,
and you got to commit to that brand.
You're committing to that brand. You're taking away those things that got you to the show. Now they're all sitting over here while you break in all the new, which is great and fun. And you're going to go and try and make it happen. Well, at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen and you're falling and falling and falling, now that's a tough place to be.
Yeah, you're kind of in a hole now.
Yeah, because you've got to get a tour card to come back the following year.
And you didn't exactly play well, so you're not cashing.
So here he is this early in the season recognizing that things aren't going the way he wants. His confidence apparently isn't there. Something is happening where he's not
kind of shook.
He wants to go back to the old bag. So in order to do that, he's got to part ways, although he feels really grateful. I got all of that. Like there was, he was very humble in it. It wasn't like, I don't like these guys for A, B, and C, saying I love these guys. It's just, I need to do this for me. And I think that's really important. I think Gavin Rathbun, too, doesn't have a sponsor, didn't want a sponsor, wanted to go out and prove. Look at the year he's having.
He's had such a good year.
And he's using his bag, an open
whatever
bag.
he wants. Yeah.
Whatever he wants. And I think there's real value in that. I know you're tired of me talking about one-year contracts and all of that, but I think these are the examples. These are two really good examples of people that recognize the fact that, look, they're very grateful for the manufacturer's sponsorship, but at the same time, I don't feel my game is progressing enough because I'm spending all this time learning discs during a season.
Yeah, it has reinforced everything you've been talking about, which is beautiful to see.
It really does, because Gavin's starting to have a year.
Such a good year.
And his shoulder isn't even really 100. He said it's not even 100%, but you're seeing him in the mix.
Yeah, crushing it, really.
Really in the mix. The way we saw Goose in the mix last year. And we're not seeing Goose in the mix this year, which is a little weird. But there's Gavin, and that's what Gavin's decided to do. And I think there's value in that. And that's why I think people need to, that want to play this game and are coming up in this game, look at local opportunities to draw cash flow to yourself outside of disc manufacturers to allow you to use the discs that you maybe really believe in or really are working for you at this moment in your game. Mm-hmm. Because once you sign those contracts, you're locked. You're locked into throwing discs. You're locked into those putters. And you've never thrown those putters before. Gannon is a good example. He's throwing the putter that isn't the putter he's going to have probably in another 3 weeks. I think his first prototype is done.
Oh, good.
But it still took that long. And he's throwing the links, isn't he?
I believe he's putting with the link, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got the link, but he even told us that the way that the link finishes isn't the way that this Prodigy
that PA3
finished, and he had to relearn that. But it's not normal. It wasn't the way that he putts. But they're making a putter to better match what he needs in his game, but that takes time. But he's got a 3-year contract to work through that, whereas a lot of people that get these 1-year deals don't get the time. Half the year's gone by already. Yeah. Okay, and Jake's like, I can't do it. I got to go back to stuff that I think can get me a win.
Wow, his game is. Here's the thing about Jake.
Unless I'm interpreting that wrong.
Sure. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what he was saying. I'm sure.
Was he?
Yeah, I would think so. I haven't actually watched the goodbye yet, but his game is so unique and wild that
100%. I saw him trying to throw a backhand. It looked like you and me. Looked more like me, not you. So he's so dialed into what he's doing with everything else.
I feel like that just cripples your game. The well-rounded players are the ones you see rise to the top.
Right.
So for him to go,
it's a little bit of the sideshow.
Throw these overhand, it's
a little bit of the sideshow. Which
pretty wild.
Hey, look, John Daly made a total living out of being the sideshow. He had a great short game, won a couple of majors, won the British Open, won the PGA. Everyone saw the PGA where he was the last guy in, and then won the tournament. Changed his life forever. But he was sort of the long driver freak show guy. When he first came out, he was taking the driver all the way back here where everyone else you're usually parallel when you're loading up like this. He was dropping it all the way back down.
Way down here.
And then the shaft was coming almost down here and then uncoiling it. It was crazy. No one had ever done that before. And absolutely crushing it. So he became the sideshow, but he was a sideshow that also had the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So if Jake Wolf, to your point, could do the sideshow stuff, which we all think is the coolest.
It's pretty fun to watch.
It's pretty fun to watch. But then have the balance where he can get it in and make the putts and do the da-da-da.
But he's had such a rough season that these cool shots that he's throwing just don't pan out, then it's not as entertaining.
Yeah.
He's throwing these wild overhands and ending up 100 feet from the basket when a backhand would have got you 10 feet from the basket.
Yeah.
Tough to watch.
Yeah. So another thing that falls into this Carp's Corner that we're doing is the pros that aren't finishing. They're walking off the course. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but on 16, and it had to do with the playoff, Cole Redolin threw his disc and then walked off the course with 3 holes to play.
I didn't know that. What the heck happened?
Just was done. And then there's been some video that's leaked out there now of him and someone else having a conversation and giggling and laughing about it and just saying, I'm done, and walking off.
So not even rage quitting, just kind of like...
Right. Now, here's the problem with that. No one's saying that, if you're hurt, that's one thing, or a family emergency comes up, that's one thing. But if you're making that decision with just a few holes left to just walk off a course, and I don't understand how that affects, they get some sort of a certain rating attached to it, or if it's just a did not finish.
The DNF does not go towards your rating.
Okay, so there's that as well. So if you're farther down in the group, maybe that's a play, and
some people do that. Yeah, you're not supposed to. It's against the rules.
Here's where the manufacturers are going to start retooling contracts as a result of this very thing. And so if you're playing for me, I'm now going to write a contract that says you have to finish every event unless it's injury
A, B, C.
Right.
Important stuff.
Correct. Now, that's a hard thing to enforce. But I could also say, okay, I'm going to drop your salary, guaranteed salary for next year, and every tournament that you finish, another percentage gets added back into your salary.
So you're rewarding them for finishing.
Now you're being rewarded. That sort of takes out that whole debate about, oh, my shoulder was really sore and I couldn't finish. If you finish, then there's a little carrot for you for finishing. Probably what's going to happen with these manufacturers, they're going to see this where players are bailing on the last day, or something comes up and they're not in the mood, their head's not in the right place, tired, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's not really governed. You're just out. But what's bad is if you start and then you bail, that costs someone who wanted to come up. Now it still might be a 900 player and didn't have a chance of winning, but still that might have changed that person's life. It's the John Daly story. You don't know. It's the DGA guy that got sponsored, the GOAT. What's the disco? Parker Welk. He got in. No one predicted him to get in.
Oh,
and
won
win
DDO
DDO.
last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So those things could happen if they have a chance. But if you're taking a spot and then 1 day or 2 days into the tournament, you decide not, screw it, I'm out of here. Not playing well, I'm going to fall at the end. It's going to hurt it's going to hurt that. I've got no repercussions for doing it. I'm just going to go get my head in a better space and go to the next event.
Well, to your point,
that's not good.
I just ran the Conquest not too long ago, and there were 3 people that dropped out after the first round.
Yeah.
There were 3 people on the wait list that would have played the full event.
Yeah, that's
just for the experience of it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It really is. And I'm guilty too. I've not played last days before. Don't like doing it. Usually there's a good reason for not doing it, but in their case, these are professionals. This isn't an amateur thing. I understand what you're saying too, but
yeah, it kind of counterbalanced the point, I guess.
Right. But the idea is that, you know, they're trying to get money into the sport, and you're going to dictate the way manufacturers now give you money. If you stop and playing and not finish out a round, you're not finishing out technically your contract, in my opinion, because you're getting paid to play in a tournaments throughout the year and represent the brand and all the other things that come with that. So I think that's a slippery slope and
for sure,
and a dangerous one. So
you've got to word it very carefully.
Yeah, I think you do. I really think you do.
Bradley Williams dropped out after 5 holes, so that tells you that was probably pretty extreme.
Yeah, I mean, people get hurt. There's no question that we have another conversation about tees, another conversation about this, that, and the other, where people do get injured. Mm-hmm. Right? It does happen. It's such a physical sport, and I don't think it gets the credit it deserves.
Pretty demanding, yeah.
Really demanding. Really demanding. And I think these guys feel like they've got to hit every tournament too, in order to get the points, in order to please their manufacturers, in order to keep, just
be relevant,
stay in the circus.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where you want to be. So totally get it. But I think you have to be careful when you start doing things like this. Manufacturers are paying attention, and they're not going to let it slide. As a business owner, I'm telling you, they won't let you slide. And so be careful. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Episode 32.
We wrapping her up?
I don't have anything else. Do you?
Right.
Maybe I got a little
short and sweet. All right. Good to see you. Good being back. See you, everyone.
Have a good night, guys. I didn't mean to get hasty.
No, that's good.
How did we do?
35.
Oh, sweet.